All right, welcome everyone to Precinct Organizer, Captain, and Volunteer Training. My name is Catherine Wallace, and I am the chair of the Jefferson County Democratic Party. And so I am going to be talking to you tonight about a few things, about the party structure, about messaging, about organizing and party building, and kind of let you all in on my grand plan, which you are all a part of. So I do have a slide deck, and there is going to be some parts of this that are a little more interactive. So let me pull up the slide deck and then I'll share my screen. Let me find the slide deck. I only have a million tabs open. Okay. Share my screen. And it looks like we got a lot of people in the waiting room.
Well, I can't tell.
Are you not seeing them?
Well, I think I messed up. I'm not seeing them. I'm not seeing myself,
Okay,
and I'm not seeing them.
I think maybe you're not logged in as
It doesn't look like he's a co-host.
no, he's not. Let me make you a co-host. It's because you logged in as your regular person.
Okay, thank you.
You can see him now?
Yes, and I just admitted Dorothy.
Great. Just admit everyone. Okay.
I will.
Back to the program. I will show you. So this is kind of volunteer training because we're all volunteers. And I I don't want anyone to feel like if you're not a precinct organizer or a captain, like there's not a place for you to be working really hard right now, because there absolutely is. So some of the things we're going to be talking about are a little bit more specific to if you're a precinct organizer or a captain, but a lot of what we're talking about is very much general and could apply to any volunteer. And if there's an opening, then you could become a precinct organizer and get to have all the rights and responsibilities therein. So the agenda for tonight, we're going to talk about what we believe. We're going to give a party overview. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about party building and spend a little bit of time talking about campaign support and then also election support. So I really want to start with what Democrats stand for. And one of the things I'm hearing right now is that people are in search of a message. And I don't claim to have the end all be all of messaging, but I think we do have a message. And Eric Proctor, my political director, helped me put together some of these messages. And I think these are things that we can really stand behind as Democrats, stand behind with our friends and family, and say, you know, the Democrats do stand for something, and we do know what that is. So one of these statements, America is strong when her people are strong, and America is weakened when her people struggle to make ends meet. We believe access to healthcare, a quality education, and economic opportunity are not only fundamental rights for American citizens, but are also vital to national security. We all do better when we all do better. So that's not an encapsulated statement, but that is kind of like the underpinnings of where we're coming from. But let's talk a minute about economic opportunity. Every person deserves the opportunity to earn a living wage. Workers need the right to unionize to fight for fair treatment. And we need an economy that works for working families, wherein everyone gets a shot at their American dream. Individual citizen dreams for their families are the cornerstone for not only a successful economy, but also a strong republic. Economic opportunity is probably the number one message we want to drive home. That if you want economic opportunity, you need to vote for Democrats, because they're the ones who believe in this, in a living wage, in the right to unionize, in the rights of labor. These are economic values. They've always been democratic values. They've always been democratic values. And we need to remember that we are the party of the working class. Access to healthcare. this one boiled down to just every person deserves healthcare at every stage of life. And this includes access to reproductive health care. So one of the things I will say to you is that what we're talking about here are value statements. So I'm not going to get into policy here. I'm not going to start talking about, well, we need universal health care, or we need, things that, specific to, a specific kind of health care. What we are talking about are our values, that we deserve right to healthcare. We deserve economic opportunities. These are values. How we get there is where we might start to differ from people. But if we stay focused on a conversation about our values, that is where we win the conversation. So I would caution you, even if policy is your thing and you really like to get into the weeds on this or that policy, those are not conversations that you can have with most people. Most people don't get into the weeds on policy, and that is also, again, where you're going to start finding disagreement. And we're not looking to just agree with everyone all the time, but we're looking for where do we have that agreement. And so that's where we talk about our values. And so then also education, every student deserves an equal opportunity to reach their potential. Education is not only a basic right, it is also a necessary component of a healthy democracy. And so I boiled it down. Now we have a platform, the Colorado Democratic Party does, the Jefferson County Democratic Party does not. We just use the Colorado platform. And the DNC, the National Committee, also has a platform. And it's long, it's extensive, it's actually probably has a lot of things in it that don't even belong in a platform, but they're there. And I can't really encapsulate this 50-page document in a few slides. So this is definitely not all we stand for. But these are three key things that I think really resonate with people: economic opportunity, healthcare, education. So that's what I recommend you talk about when you are talking to your friends and neighbors. And then this is just one more statement here, and kind of restating the previous slide. All right, so we're going to take a step back now, and we're going to talk about the actual party structure. So we are an organization that exists at many different layers and levels, and you may not know where you fit into that. So I am going to tell you. At the very top of the pie is the Democratic National Committee. That's the DNC that you've heard about, and they play at the national level. They are right now recruiting and fostering presidential candidates for 2028. And there are documents and things that we do. Our rules cannot contradict their rules. Whenever we do our delegation plans and things like that, all of that is approved by the Democratic National Committee. Beneath that is the Colorado Democratic Party. And we also cannot, as the Jeffco Dems, have any rules that contradict the Colorado Democratic Party rules. And they help with a lot of administration and organization. And so there's a lot of work that gets done at the state party level. So beneath that, it starts to kind of branch out. So we've got judicial districts and congressional districts and Senate districts and House districts, and some of them are multi-county and some of them are single county, and it all gets super complicated. But for the purposes of this slide and keeping it simple, let's just assume that basically it goes from the Colorado Democratic Party to the County Democratic Party, and that from there, we mostly organize through the House districts. And so all of you live in a House district, and most of those House districts have regular meetings and do the organizing around the lit drops in the even numbered years. And all of that is done at a House district level. And then the House districts are made up of multiple captains, and the captains have multiple precincts, which is where the precinct organizers serve. So And you will sometimes hear PCP or precinct committee person. The state party stopped using that terminology many years ago now. But there are people who still follow the law, which does still say precinct committee person. And it's just a hard habit to break people of. So if you ever hear PCP, that means precinct organizer. And so that's kind of the lowest level. And we're going to talk in just a second a little bit more about what these things mean. So I also wanted to just cover some of the committees that you'll hear come up. So we just had our reorg, and that is where I was elected. Thank you all very much for electing me. I appreciate it. And there were a bunch of other things that we elected. We elected our state central committee, our state executive committee. We did the congressional districts, which for Jeffco, those are all multi-county. The judicial district is multi-county. And then there were several multi-county Senate and House districts. All of these things are elected at reorg. But then there's committees that you exist on because you're a part of the county structure. So there is the central committee, which includes all the POs, as well as all these other things: captains, HD officers, SD officers, elected officials, captain at large, and initiative chairs. All of those things make up the executive committee, which is a subset of the central committee. So if you hold any of those titles, you are a member of both of these things. If you're a PO, then you're just a member of the central committee. However, I will also say that there's almost always room for another captain or HD or SD officer. So if you are looking to move up the ranks and serve on the executive committee, then that opportunity is almost certainly there for you. And okay, I am going to pause there for questions. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you all. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have any questions at this juncture. Not going to pause too long because we have a lot of content. Okay, thank you very much. Going back to the slideshow. Maybe.
Hi.
Oh, please go on mute.
Sure.
Oh, okay, I have to mute everyone. Sorry. Oh, trying to mute. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but it got muted. So please stay on mute and let me see if I can get back. Oh, I am having a terrible, horrible mouse problem. Okay, back to the program. So what is a precinct organizer? Precinct organizers are duly elected representatives of the party within their precinct. So when you are a precinct organizer, you represent your precinct in much the same way that my House District Representative, Brianna Titone, represents my House District. Or like Lindsay Doherty, my state senator, represents Senate District 19. These are people who represent their districts. Well, as a precinct organizer, you represent your precinct. So it's a pretty big responsibility. And different precinct organizers do different amounts of work. And we always, you're a volunteer, so we're not going to, yell at you too much if you're not doing as much as you could be. But it is a responsibility. It is an elected position, and there certainly are some expectations. So one of them is that you attend all central committee meetings or designate a proxy. The central committee meets a minimum of twice a year, and sometimes it'll be 3 times. Usually not more than that. There's got to be something really crazy going on for us to meet more than 3 times a year. But we do meet twice a year. And if you can't come, totally understandable. We do meet on Zoom here in Jefferson County. Don't see that changing under my watch. But if you can't attend, you can always designate a proxy, and we make it very easy. You don't have to find someone to carry that proxy. You just need to let us know through a Google form that you cannot attend. We'll find someone to carry your proxy, and then you still count toward our quorum. And we do have a requirement that we have 40% of the committee at our meetings in order to conduct business. So it's kind of a big deal if you just miss the meeting and you don't send in a proxy or anything. That actually hurts our ability to conduct business. We would love it if you would recruit party workers within your precinct and supervise those volunteer activities. That there's a saying, many hands make light work. So if you have to do a whole precinct all by yourself of lit dropping, that can be a several weekend proposition. It's a huge commitment. It's a lot of ground to cover. If you have a co-PO, because you can have up to two, that's great. Then that splits the precinct in half. But even better if you've got a couple of neighbors who can chip in and do a few blocks. So the more people we can get involved, the easier it is on everyone. And okay, I see a raised hand. Okay, Michelle, I can't see you, but I can hear you. Go ahead.
Just a quick question for POs. Can you recruit folks that are independents to be POs,
Yeah.
or they have to be registered as Dems?
You have to be a registered Democrat,
Okay, thanks.
but you certainly can volunteer. So they can't vote on the committees, right? And that's really what being a PO, that's the real benefit to being a precinct organizer, is that you get to vote on leadership like myself, and on the positions we take on ballot measures, and occasionally there's other things that come along that our central committee will vote on. Our rules are voted on by the central committee. So you have to be a Democrat to be a voting member of the central committee, but you certainly do not have to be a Democrat to volunteer. There are probably people on this call who are not registered Democrats. I am not turning you away. I'm saying you can't vote, but I am not saying that we won't put you to work, because we absolutely will. If you share our values, then we all want those values to be what gets elected. And then it is expected that you will support all nominees of the party as a precinct organizer. And we do not, there's never any kind of requirement that you make a financial contribution. And you're always going to probably have your favorite candidates. We're not saying that you have to put everybody's sign in your yard, or you have to give the same amount of money to every single candidate. It's not like that. But, you know, if someone comes to you and says, hey, I know you're the Democratic Party representative around here, who are my candidates? Then you want to make sure you mention all of them, because that's really our job, is to support the whole slate. Okay, captains. Oh, Joe has raised his hand. Go ahead, Joe. Now Joe has to come off mute.
Was there something pulled off of that last piece? Because there was an A, B, and then it jumped D.
Oh, yes. Yes, there was. That is very astute of you. You know what is not there anymore is that we used to say that it was the precinct organizer's job to tell everyone in the precinct where the caucus was going to be. And we just found that that was far too onerous for the precinct organizers to be able to get to every single Democrat. And even when we send you out to the doors, which we're going to talk about in just a minute here, we don't send you to every Democrat's door. And that's the way it was written, that you were supposed to somehow contact, you know, every single Democrat in your precinct to tell them where the caucus was going to be. And our caucuses are, again, virtual under my watch. So that was very, very astute of you to pick that up, that there's no C, but that's what it was, and that's why it's gone. Okay, on to captains. So don't you love my graphic? Where are all my MCU fans out there? Captains serve as a leader for multiple precincts within a House district, and they assist the precinct organizers in the execution of their duties. So a lot of times, if you've come in and you're a new precinct organizer, and maybe you're coming to this training, and you're like, gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I've been a PO for a year or a couple months or couple weeks. And I just don't know. Hopefully you have a captain who can kind of take you by the hand and give you a lot of personal attention and make sure that you do know what you need to do, because that is the role of the captain. And captains also recruit precinct organizers where we have vacancies, which we have a lot of in Jefferson County. And they serve as the communication interface between the precinct organizers and the larger party. So what that looks like is that we'll have a chair's advisory meeting and Catherine Wallace will say, guess what, House District, you all need to go do this. And then the House District chairs go, oh, guess what, captains, you all need to go do this thing that Catherine told us to do. And then the captains call the POs and say, guess what, POs, this is what we need from you. So it's kind of like a phone tree, where you just have the different layers that you call. And it really helps because we have so many precincts in a House district that without that layer of captains in between, the management would just be almost impossible. Okay, will there be a list of captains that POs report to? There is such a list. It is our org chart. And when we get to the end, don't let me forget, I will drop a link to where you can see that. And then the captain is a member of the County Central Committee, the County Vacancy Committee, and the County Executive Committee. So I just want to say one thing about back on the committees, the Central Committee and the Executive Committee. The really big difference is that the executive committee approves the budget. That's really the only thing the executive committee has to say over that the central committee doesn't. So it is an added layer of authority to get to approve the budget. But it's not like it's a big difference in the two committees. But if you want to go to that next level, you want to be heard on the budget, then you absolutely can think about becoming a captain. There are almost always vacancies for captains as well. Okay, so now we're going to go into party building and all part of my grand scheme. So every conversation you have counts. And we just talked about messaging, right? So we believe in economic opportunity. We believe in access to healthcare. We believe in access to education. These are our values. When are you going to have that conversation? Well, every conversation you have, quite frankly. Now, I know there's people you don't want to talk politics to. I get it. But you do talk politics to lots of people all the time. And when you're at the park, walking the dog, at the grocery store, getting your hair done, I don't know where these kind of conversations come up. One place they could come up is this weekend at the big rally. So that is a place where you can be having these conversations. So, and the other place is at the doors, where I'm going to give you an opportunity in a minute to ask for a list. And then this is telling you a little bit about what you would do with that list. Is you would go to some people's doors, highly curated people, and you would introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Catherine Wallace. I happen to be the chair of the Jefferson County Democratic Party. Hi, I'm Joe Democrat, and I am a precinct organizer, which means I'm a part of the Democratic Party. Brief introduction, and then you listen. And then you want to be able to provide information. So did you know that your city councilor is Randy Mormon? Did you know that your state senator is Lindsay Doherty? Did you know that city council meets on Monday nights? Make sure that you are educated and that you have information to provide. And then you go back to listening. And then you're going to want to provide opportunities. And so hopefully we're going to have some real specific opportunities where there will be some in-person meetings coming up in your house district. There'll be some service projects coming up in your house district. You can create your own events. You can go to the Jeffco Dems calendar where there's always stuff going on. There are always city councils and town halls. There are so many ways that people can get involved, but they don't know about those ways. And so we need you to know so that you can provide them with those opportunities. And then again, you want to listen. gather any information you can. If you are at someone's store, if you are talking to someone, get their email address, please, please, please. Get their email address. That's going to help you follow up. You can put them on our newsletter. We do not send out an annoying number of newsletters. If you're getting all those begs for money, they're not coming from the Jeffco Dems. Those are coming from the state party. I have nothing to do with those. We send out a newsletter. We send out information about events. That's pretty much all we do. So would love to get people onto our email list. And then it's really important that you follow up. If you have this great conversation with somebody, you get their email address, and then you just go home and never follow up, then you just wasted that huge opportunity. So that is my initial plea. So let's talk about how we do this and how we build a Democrat onto every block. And the first thing is to go to our website, jeffcodems.org. And this is the website. Go to the homepage. And right at the moment, we've just got the leadership listed here. But this is kept very, very fresh. So as soon as we have something new that's worth putting up, we will be doing that. But in the meantime, since the leadership is a little bit new, we just went ahead and put that here. This is where you can find out your elected officials, your federal, statewide, we've got Colorado Senate, Colorado House, and our, can't forget Jefferson County. There's our commissioners, and then all the rest of our elected officials at the county level. And almost all of these people is up for election in 2026. We've got an about page. There's not a whole lot necessarily there. Get involved. I want to show off our brand new resistance page. Big, huge thank you to our webmaster, Barb Kolkmeyer. So we heard from a lot of people that they were not getting information about the protests, and they wanted to know why the Democrats aren't telling them. And part of the reason was that we just plain didn't know about them, but we've gotten some resources since then who've like let us know what's actually up. And so now these are things that are not sponsored by the Democratic Party. This is not something that we are organizing, but we are aware of these things. So we want to make you aware of them. So I really encourage you to go to our resistance page. We have it in for Gabe Evans. Boy, let me tell you, he's not in Jeffco, but if you can make it out to a Gabe Evans protest, oh my gosh, I got it in for that man. He's going down. And then we just have a few other little things on here, and some other websites you can go to. So that's our brand new resistance page. Very proud of that. We've got a little bit of information on here about our initiatives, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in a minute. And then we've got our calendar, which is probably the most important thing. And so here is where you can learn about all the great things that are going on. And we're probably going to be beefing this up a little bit more to go ahead and start including things like when the Arvada City Council, Lakewood City Council, Westminster City Council, when these things are meeting, when the county commissioners meet, because we do want you all to be involved and educated. And so I think there's room on the calendar for us to start including a little bit more, but this is a great resource for you. But it assumes that you know, for example, that you're in House District 24 and that you might want to go to this meeting. So that's information that we can collect. And so one of the things that we have also under our Get Involved volunteer page is this quick sign up to request a personal contact. So there's 2 Google forms here, and I know that's confusing, but this quick sign up is something new that we just introduced. And basically it's this super short form. All I need to know is your email, phone number, city, county, all optional. And then preferred method of contact, and then a nice big text box for anything people want to tell us. And what's really going to be valuable for us from this is that we will look people up and say, oh, okay, well, now I know that you live in House District 24 and your city councilor is so-and-so. And so now we have a group of volunteers who's going to be getting in touch with anyone who fills out this form and getting right back to them and saying, you know, we've just learned all this information. So we can look that up. You can also look that stuff up if you have access to something called Van or Vote Builder. And there's going to be another training. I forget the date. It's in a couple weeks for people who want to learn to look things up on their own. But that's not necessary to being a precinct organizer. You do not have to learn Van. You don't need to know it. I'm willing to teach it to you, but I don't want that to be a roadblock to getting out into the world and actually having these conversations. Okay, so got a little waylaid there, but go to jeffcodems.org. That's a great place to get information. And I am not keeping track of the chat, so if it's urgent, raise your hand and there will be plenty of time at the end for questions. So definitely good to get to know. And if you live in you know, if you're walking in your neighborhood, then you're going to know who all these people are because they're your people. So first get to know who your people are, and then it's really easy to tell your neighbors. And if you need help with that, then by all means, fill out our form or drop us a line at office@jeffcodems.org and we'll look you up and we'll give you all the scoop. So also get to know when town halls and other events are going on. It's all really, really important. The next thing you're going to do is get a list. So the list is something that we will produce by working with you. And I've got, again, I have great volunteers throughout the county doing all kinds of different stuff. So I have this other group of volunteers that builds lists. And so we use this tool called Van, and we can use it for targeting. So there are some scores and very magical, mystical things in Van, which tell us how likely a person is to vote for a Democrat. And we can use that score, whether they're unaffiliated or not, to figure out, you know, how strong a Democrat are they. And we can then, you know, maybe you do want to only go to Democrat doors because you're looking to recruit precinct organizers. So you want to make sure you're only talking to Democrats, but maybe you're just wanting to grow your outreach in the community and grow the good name of the Democrats. And so then you would go to unaffiliated people's doors. There's no one magic way to build a list, which is why I have a team of trained people. So we're going to ask you to think about, though, how many people you want to contact. So are you going to go and drop literature at their doors? Are you going to also knock at their doors? Are you just going to get on the phone and call them or do some manual texting? How are you going to do the outreach? And then how many people do you want? So I would say, kind of, if I had to pick a number for anybody, it would be 200 names or 200 doors. But that might be too many for you. And at the same time, you might be thinking, well, I've really got a fair amount of time to devote to this. I could do 300. But if you had to pick a number and you get tripped up on that, say 200 and call it a day. So our list builders will build you a list of people, and then you will access that list through a tool called Minivan, which is an app on your phone. And there is definitely training that we can do to help you learn how to do that from your phone. It's super easy once you've learned to do it. It's really, really handy. We can also get you paper. If you're old school and you want paper, not a problem. We'll get you paper. And so let me just show you. Oh, okay. So one of the things that's super effective about doing this kind of door knocking and phone calling is if you have something to invite people to. So if we have in-person events going on in the House District or service events going on, that is super, super awesome. As the summer rolls around, there will be some countywide events that we could use to drive people to. but it's really helpful. You can go to everybody's door and say, I'm your neighbor, I'm a Democrat, here's my contact information, but there's no call to action there. If you say, hey, here's an event and it's coming up in 2 weeks and we'd love to have you come, then I think it's just much more likely to get them to actually show up and engage with you. So ideally, you would want to go and talk to your neighbors, or at the very minimum, to leave them a note on their door. And then also there would be an event that we could invite them to. So when you're ready to get that started, oh, I lost my mouse. Okay, here we go. Let's go to this link. We have a form for you to fill out. And so this deck is going to be mailed to all of you. If you're a precinct organizer. If you are not a precinct organizer or captain and you found your way to this call, please, please, please email me, chair@jeffcodems.org or office@jeffcodems.org, and tell me you need the slide deck, because I don't have registration on here. So I have no actual way of sending it to everyone on the call because I don't know who you are. Okay, so here you go. So this is a more involved form. So we need your email address, your first name, your last name, your city. How would you like to contact people? And you can check off more than one box. How many people do you want to contact? Like I said, when in doubt, put 200. What contact information do you want to list on your handouts? So if you want us to list your phone number and your email address, great. If you just want your email address, understood. You kind of got to have at least one or the other, because otherwise, what's the point? So you cannot be uncontactable and really be effective at this kind of organizing. My suggestion is that you do put both your email and your phone number. I don't think you're going to get particularly spammed or crank called or anything like that. I know my email and phone number are out there for the whole world, and it's, I get my share of spam, but it's coming from everywhere. It's certainly not coming from the people I know from the Jeffco Dems. If there are events you want to list on your handouts, that this is where you would put that, hey, in-person meeting on June 4th at this park, and whatever information you want. And then if there's anything else that you want put on the handout, and there, I don't know what that might be, but if there is, let us know. And then just a nice blanket if there's anything else you want us that you need from us. So when you do that, what we're going to do is we are going to do two things. We're going to run you a list, and we're going to create for you the handout. And so again, wonderful, wonderful Secretary Barb Holtmeyer has agreed that as these come in, she's going to customize a handout that we already have a template of, and it's not the prettiest. One thing about Barb is she's so good at making things pretty, and I'm so not. Yeah, I don't even have the sample linked here anymore. But we will make you a really pretty handout. It's going to be a half sheet of paper. So if you were printing it, you could print to a page, and it's got the American flag and the Jeffco Dems logo, and it's just your contact information, the event, and anything else that you want us to put on there. Real simple. We'll probably start putting a QR code. We might even put the QR code that we're doing for these handouts that we're doing for the protest, which go to that really simple form. Haven't completely finalized what's going to be on the handouts, but we're very, very close. By the time you guys start asking for them, we'll be ready to go. And so at that point, we can either send you a PDF that you can print on your home printer, or we can even print them for you as well. And then it's just a matter of getting a driver off to the Jeffco Dems office to pick them up and get them off to you. I don't want anything to be in your way. I don't want technology to be a hindrance. I don't want a printer to be a hindrance. Whatever we can do to get a list into your hands and to get you onto the doors and have a handout to give to people, that is my goal. So whatever we can do to help clear your path, that is what we want to do. Okay. So I'm actually going to pause there because there's been a lot going on in the chat, and that is all Catherine's grand plan for how we build the party and take all the races in 2025 and 2026. We're going to win them all, just like we did in 2024, at least in Jeffco. All right, questions. What did I miss in the chat? Oh my gosh, the chat's been very busy. I won't try to catch up. Questions? I just have a little bit more. Yes, Michelle.
Sure. I have another question about independence because I think I live in an area that's very busy in Green Mountain with condos. So I'm thinking there's a lot of people here. So my question is, it's from what you said, I understand I can get a list of folks that are Democrats whose doors I may knock on. With that list, is there another list that would also include independents, or what do you do with independents? I'm just curious.
So it's up to you. If you
Okay.
want us to include people who are unaffiliated, and I always use the word unaffiliated, and here's why. Because
Okay.
I am a very independent person, but I am affiliated. I have chosen a team. So
Got
it
it.
kind of offends me when people go, oh, I'm independent. I'm like, no, you just aren't really paying attention, but that's okay. Anyway, unaffiliated. Yes, we will include unaffiliated people. That's up to you. The only reason you would not include unaffiliated people is if you're specifically recruiting people to become a precinct organizer.
Got it.
So you tell us what kind of a list you want. And
Okay.
so when you fill out that form that I showed you, and that there's going to be a link, I'm actually going to drop that link into the chat. When you fill out that form, and even if you're not ready to go right this second, even if you know you're just going to want to do it, oh man, copy link. You're welcome to go fill this out now, and we will circle back with you.
Is there one form or two forms?
One form.
And that
Got it.
takes care of
Thanks.
all of it?
Yeah, this is the form. Yes. So this gets you the list and the handout. It's all in one form.
Okay,
So if you're not ready for the handout yet, because not all the house districts have things planned yet, but you're gonna want it, it's okay to fill out the form now, and we can start working with you on getting a list. And then we can also start working on getting the handouts done for you as well. It's all on the one form. Yeah, so exciting. Exciting. All right, I do have just a couple more slides. What time are we at here? Oh, we're doing really good on time. It's almost like I planned it that way. Let me go back to the slide deck. And... Okay, so I just wanted to say one other thing about organizing and party building, and that is that there's other things you can do, like with social media. So for some of you, it's like, wow, this is great, Catherine, but frankly, I just want to stay in my little hole and I can't deal with people. And there's so much negativity out there right now. I just can't do it. Like, leave me alone. Don't make me talk to anyone. That is fine. There are still things you can do. So it's great if you can take the time to get on your social media, get on Facebook, get on Instagram, get on Blue Sky, and go out and find your elected representatives. They've all got accounts on all of these social media platforms. Go out, follow them, friend them, whatever you call it on that platform. Make sure that you're one of them so that you're keeping an eye on what they're doing. And that goes for candidates as well. And then post comments, retweet things, re-sky them. I don't know what you call it on Blue Sky. Really try to boost up the positive stuff. One of the things you may not know is that once you become a candidate or an elected official, you're not allowed to delete negative posts or things that trolls do. So people come on and say the most horrible things to our elected officials, and there is nothing they can do about it. But what you can do is you can drown it out and push it further down with positive comments. So that's really, really helpful. So you can just like never leave your couch, never pick up the phone, and still be helping our Democrats by being active on social media. I will say this, do not engage on social media. It's not worth it. It's just going to upset you, and it can get you put in Facebook jail. And then if you ever do decide to run for something, then you've got all this crap out there that you've got to go and defend. Um, you know, really, we want to be spreading a positive message. And I know there is a lot to be negative about right now. Goodness knows. I mean, the country is burning down around us. I know. But we want to have a positive message that Democrats are the party of hope, that we are the party of compassion. And it really shoots us in the foot if we're out there yelling and screaming at people. And then also, once you have got information from people, like their emails and their phone numbers, do follow up, do contact them, email them, phone call them, text them. Texting is such a great way to reach people nowadays. I kind of do the full approach. Like, I will text someone, I will call and leave them a voicemail, and I'll send them an email. And I will often do all three things if there's someone I actually need to get a hold of. And inevitably, what they get back to is the text message. But if I don't follow up with the phone call and the email, sometimes I don't hear back from the text. So if there's people you need to reach out. Getting people to get involved takes a little bit of pushiness. Okay, all right, initiatives. So initiatives are groups that are basically constituencies. So these are groups that may or not even be underrepresented, but are just people that all identify for whatever reasons, and that are kind of part of the Democratic Party, but also have their own lens that they're seeing things through. So what the initiatives do is they bring our message to their community, and they bring their community's message to the Democratic Party. It's a two-way street. And so when it works well, it works really, really great. And we lift each other up, and it's just a beautiful thing. Some of our initiatives have really struggled. So like our Pride initiative right now, there's just not anybody who's really galvanized in that community. If that is you, if you are part of the Pride community or just a friend of the Pride community, and you would like to kickstart our Pride initiative, we would love to have you. But we do have the Jeffco Young Dems, which are very vibrant. You do have to be 36 or younger to be a Jeffco Young Dem. So I aged out a long time ago, but they are great. They are alive and kicking. We've got the Veterans Initiative, which you have to have a family member who's a veteran, but I just heard Carl say last night that they're pretty loose about what they consider a family member. So it could be your second cousin twice removed, and they'll let you into Betty. JDLI, you do not have to be Latino to be a member of JDLI. They are probably the strongest numbers-wise initiative. Even there are statewide initiatives as well. I think JDLI has more members than any of even our statewide initiatives. So JDLI is kind of like the gold standard of initiatives. And then we have our Labor Advisory Committee, which is also initiative, actually our oldest initiative. And they throw a great picnic every year, and they speak to the values of labor. So these are things that would be great if you wanted to get involved with, and their meetings are all on the Jeffco Dems calendar. So that's another way you can get involved. And then let's just talk specifically about what we're going to want you to do over the summer. And that is to work with our campaigns. So we have city council and school board elections coming up. And second Saturday is going to be on April 12th, and the topic is going to be why city council matters. And I really hope you can join us, because we're going to hear from several city councilors and a mayor. And city council is super, super important. So a lot of times you forget that your city and county government have the most direct impact on your life. When you're talking about your property taxes, that's, the county government. When you're talking about, um, you want to put a new roof on your house and you need a permit, that's city government. My streets aren't getting plowed, that's city government. Why don't I have a sidewalk? That's city government. So much of what we do that really impacts our lives comes from the city council. And we need Democrats everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. I will not be satisfied till every elected position in Jefferson County is held by a Democrat. And that starts this year, right now, by getting people elected to city council. So I really hope that you'll find time, even if you're not prepared right now, you don't want to go out and hit up your neighbors and do all the stuff I talked about. I hope you will step up in, July, August, September, when the city council candidates really need you, and the school board candidates as well, because school board is also going to be, this year, there are 3 seats up. And so school board can't tell you how important that is. Like, they're coming for our schools, boy, and we cannot afford to not have Democrats on the Jefferson County School Board. So these are really important. You can write postcards. We're working really hard to get postcards that people can write into our hands. We know a lot of people want to do that. Right now, we have more volunteers than we have postcards to write, but we're working on filling that gap so that we can get as many postcards written as possible. You can do some literature drops, although candidates are always going to prefer that you actually take the time to knock on that door and have a conversation with the voter. That is the number one way to get a vote, is to look someone in the eye and say, will you vote for me? Will you vote for my candidate? There will be lots and lots of events, including fundraisers, but also other events. And a lot of times with fundraisers, even if you can't really afford to make a donation, like they might say $50. If you don't have $50, my guess is that those candidates are not going to kick you out. So I really want to emphasize that giving money, like if that's all you can do and you have money, great, we'll take your money. Goodness knows we'll take your money. In fact, I'm about to ask you for money. But that is not the way the Democrats work. You do not have to give money. You don't ever have to give money. You can still do all the other things. And then social media is also part of campaign support. And then finally, election support. Voter registration is really not a thing in Colorado anymore. We have automatic voter registration, which means that as soon as someone gets a Colorado ID, they are registered to vote. So almost everybody who's eligible to vote is in fact also registered to vote in Colorado. There's just not enough need to stand outside the libraries anymore. And what happens is people don't know that. So then they take all this time to fill out all this paperwork, and you take all this time, and they were registered all along. So we don't really do that anymore, but I left it on the slide to explain that we don't do it anymore. For getting out the vote, we do literature distribution and phone calls. You can also become an election judge or a poll watcher. Um, and we always have a pretty good number of volunteers to do all of that. But there's a place on the website where you can sign up on the big long form that has a place to sign up to be an election judge or a poll watcher. And we will make sure that those get out there. Okay, so before I forget, I have to make my pitch. So thank you all for coming tonight. And Zoom is not free. And all of these programs that we have put into place are not free. Printing all this stuff out for you guys costs money. And so we have to also ask for money. Not a lot of money. You could give us a very, very small amount of money, and I would be very, very happy. You could become a monthly donor, which would really make me happy. So here is the link. And just to give you an idea, so one of the things we're doing right now is we're training our 2025 candidates, all of these city council candidates, and we help them get a photo shoot going. We're bringing in a fashion expert to consult with them. so we're doing some work that we're not going to give money to every single city council candidate. That would be ridiculous. But there's some things we can do at the broader, higher level to help support them. And then we are going to be making a donation to our school board candidates. So that's kind of where our focus is this year. And we're building for next year. 2026 is going to be so critical. We've got 7 countywide races that we have to fight for in 2026. So we've got a lot of work to do next year. So we're putting a little bit away for next year, this year as well. So that is my pitch. Please make a donation. No amount is too small. All right, back to the questions. What you got? Nothing? Okay.
I just looked on Blue Sky,
Yeah,
and I don't see Jeff Codem's on there.
I don't think we have a Blue Sky account.
We should have one.
Well,
Colorado's on there, and National Dems are on there.
yeah, so we just need the right volunteer who wants to set that account up and maintain it.
I don't know how to do it.
So I will get with our wonderful secretary, see if that's one more thing that she'd be willing to take on for us. So, Dorothy.
Yes, I'm wondering with respect to social media, you suggest that we not engage, as you say, but to provide positive messages. What are your recommendations with respect to sharing articles with respect to facts that are misstated?
I think that facts should be shared, and that if you have a factual article, you should absolutely share it. I think, it's one thing for you to post to your own page, and say, here's this factual article that I found, and everyone should read this because these are the facts you need to know. I think that's great. If it becomes the sort of thing where you see on your sister-in-law's page that she's saying that, Democrats are baby killers, and then you want to dispute that and you post a link to an article on her page, I don't know how far that's going to get you. It's not going to probably make your case to anybody. It's just sort of setting up a conflict. So, but at least it's not a negative thing. I mean, if you're just responding and saying, well, hey, here's an article from, New York Times, then that's just posting an article. That's pretty okay. But I never have a problem with, factual articles. I think, you just don't want to argue with people. Because it just gets you nowhere. It just raises your own stress levels. Does that answer
Thanks.
your question? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Patty. Patty?
He's muted.
Patty? I'm actually going to stop the recording now and we can all keep chatting.